What is metabolic flexibility and why does it matter? Hi, my name is Andrea and this is the Nutrition Mission YouTube channel. Metabolic flexibility is a modern day superpower that many of us don't know enough about. And it's something that you can learn how to increase and leverage in yourself through proper training and dietary programming. Put simply, metabolic flexibility is your body's ability to effectively and efficiently utilize both fats and carbohydrates as fuel sources. When we say that someone is metabolically flexible, we're talking about a person whose body has the ability to easily switch back and forth between the fat-burning energy system and the carbohydrate-burning energy system on demand. In other words, when we need to run on carbohydrates, we can efficiently do that. When we need to run on fats or ketones, we can efficiently do that as well. I want to give you a quick analogy that might help you understand this concept. Metabolic flexibility is analogous to physical adaptability. In other words, if you can deadlift 500 pounds, but you can't easily run up a flight of stairs, then your fitness is limited because it is not well-rounded. You may be strong, but you have no endurance. Likewise, if you can walk 500 miles, but you can't lift or carry your own body weight for 10 feet, then you are also not considered to be physically adaptable. In this case, you have endurance, but no strength. General physical fitness insists that we train multiple muscle groups and skill sets at varying capacities so that we are well prepared for any physically demanding situation that comes our way. Now I want to spend a little bit more time clarifying what I mean by metabolic flexibility. Think about this for a minute. How would you feel if all you had to eat for a week straight was pure carbohydrates like potatoes, rice, bread, grains, and fruits? Would you be able to stay focused and keep your energy levels stable? Now, what if we suddenly switched you to a diet that consisted of concentrated fat and protein like meat and eggs, nuts, seeds, and oils? Would you be able to switch up your diet that dramatically without any problems? Would your body be able to make the most of these foods to provide you with energy? Having the ability to easily switch back and forth from running on carbohydrates to running on fats is something that is supposed to happen naturally in most human populations. The vast majority of us are inherently wired for metabolic flexibility because our nomadic ancestors, from whom we inherited our genetic makeup, were forced to survive in various different climates. Sometimes they needed to be able to survive by consuming fruits, berries, roots, and plants of all kinds. These are all mainly carbohydrate sources. When you eat carbs, they get broken down into glucose in the bloodstream and are then soaked up by muscle tissue and stored as glycogen. Stored glycogen in muscle tissue is what gives athletes the capacity for powerful, explosive movements. Specifically, I'm talking about the combination of applied strength and speed at the same time. Think of an Olympic power lifter. Not only do they have to lift a heavy object, but they need to be able to lift that object quickly. This is the type of powerful, explosive movement that requires your muscles to access and use up stored glycogen. Another example of a sport that requires excellent utilization of stored glycogen is sprinting. Sprinters have to be able to efficiently tap into the metabolic process of glycolysis, which is the burning of stored carbohydrates for energy. Now I want you to think about this for a minute. If our ancestors didn't have the ability to efficiently tap into glycolysis, then they would have had a much harder time when they needed to fight off or run from bears, or when they needed to hunt and chase down their own food. On the other hand, lipolysis is the body's ability to break down fat and utilize it as the primary energy source in the body. And this was a necessary adaptation developed by our ancestors when plant sources of food were scarce or unavailable, like during winter months. A perfect example of people that are genetically well adapted to running off of fat sources are the Inuits of Greenland. For thousands of years, these people have survived in cold, harsh climates by consuming the fat and meat of whales, seals, and other land and sea creatures. This is one example of a group of people who have inherently limited metabolic flexibility, although their systems are incredibly efficient at metabolizing proteins and fats for fuel. In fact, in the indigenous populations, where they haven't been corrupted by highly processed modern foods, these people have surprisingly good health metrics and they live for a long time, even though their diets primarily consist of saturated fats and animal proteins. However, because they are so metabolically specialized, their bodies are not well adapted to metabolize fruits, tubers, grains, and other high carbohydrate foods. In the world of nutrition, we call this a one-trick pony. And it makes sense that their bodies would have adapted to be so specialized. After all, where would you harvest plant foods in an environment where the average year-round temperature is below freezing? Because of their specific circumstances and the need for their bodies to withstand subarctic temperatures, their diets have to be incredibly specialized so that they are well adapted to withstand long periods of negative 50-degree weather during the winter months. However, this population is an exception to the rule. We don't expect lots of metabolic flexibility from the Inuits because they don't need it. On the other hand, those of us living in more moderate climates in which we experience a wide range of temperatures during the 4 seasons of the year need to be more well adapted in order to remain healthy. In other words, I'm saying that we need to be able to switch between running on carbohydrate sources to running on fat sources to running on ketones, which get produced when we are fasting. This level of metabolic flexibility not only gives us a survival advantage in these climates, but it is also a major indicator of longevity, or how long you are expected to live. So now that we've determined what metabolic flexibility is and why it's important, let's talk about what gets in the way of becoming more metabolically flexible. Diets that are imbalanced are a problem, and that includes diets that are high in saturated fat as well as diets that are high in processed foods and sugar. But the number one factor getting in our way is chronically elevated insulin levels that are a result of the standard American diet. And the acronym for the standard American diet is SAD, S-A-D, because it is sad. We are flooded with processed grains and highly refined seed oils on top of numerous other frankenfoods that the body doesn't really know what to do with. These foods cause abnormal peaks and dips in blood glucose levels, constantly sending the body mixed signals about what it's supposed to do. And this results in a boy who cried wolf situation. At a certain point, when insulin levels have been elevated for too long, the cells of the body stop storing glucose, and it's a downhill spiral from there. Consider this. According to current estimates by the CDC, approximately 1 out of 3 Americans has prediabetes. Of the people who have prediabetes, 8 out of 10 of them don't even know. That's because a vast majority of Americans are walking around with chronically dysregulated glucose levels. These are the people with poor metabolic flexibility. If this could possibly apply to you, then I want you to know that I'm not saying this in order to shame you. I'm saying this because I want you to know that you can do something to improve your circumstances. I created a 4-week nutrition challenge program in order to help you improve your metabolic flexibility. It's based on a whole foods, plant-based model of eating that is designed to detoxify the body and reduce systemic inflammation. If you want to know more about this program, then check out the link below this video and it will take you to a landing page where you can get more information. Now, I want to wrap this video up by saying that metabolic flexibility is such an important health skill, and it is something that can be improved with the right knowledge and consistent practice. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you got something useful out of it. You can hit the bell icon so that you are notified anytime I publish a health and nutrition related video. And if you would like, leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay metabolically flexible.